Hello and welcome to the Redox Connection, where we discuss about our extraordinary, beautiful bodies and we learn how to take responsibility and care for our overall well-being. I'm Liana, a holistic wellness coach, and with us today we have Dr. Ray Dixon. Hello, Dr. Ray, and welcome.
Hello.
Dr. Ray Dixon, naturopath, chiropractor with 40 plus years of experience and one of the world's first redox experts and educators, is going to guide us to understand a bit further on the topic of allergies. Now, we've done previous episodes where Dr. Ray's clearly identified what is the immune system, what happens when it's malfunctioning, and now we're talking about something that is connected to the immune system, which is allergies. Dr. Ray.
Oh, absolutely. Fascinating topic. We covered the immune system briefly in one session, which is one of my favorite systems in the human body. Then we covered when things go wrong. And in the last session, we did autoimmune problems, where your body is attacking itself through cytotoxic T killer cells and antibodies, otherwise known as immunoglobulins, by the way. Allergies is interesting. The whole topic comes under hypersensitivity reactions. And there's 5 types of hypersensitivity reactions. And in fact, autoimmune disease comes into some of these categories, by the way. So there's a kind of slight relationship in some respects, but there's also some substantial differences from allergies to autoimmune diseases. Those hypersensitivity reactions occur when that third line of defense, which we taught earlier, is specific immune responses, sometimes referred to as the adaptive immune response, but is a better word, I feel. Something's got to go wrong. For example, let me give an example. Most people are familiar with hay fever, some pollens from flowers or grasses getting up your nose. And then they get hay fever. So what is that? And this will teach what these hypersensitivity allergic responses are. Now, the first thing to note is if your body left that pollen alone and ignored it, mounted no reaction, well, that's normal. You wouldn't have any hay fever. You wouldn't have any sneezing. You wouldn't have an itchy nose. You wouldn't have itchy eyes. That's because your immune system doesn't realize this is something to be left alone. It's harmless. It's not going to hurt you. Your immune system has missed that. And it's now mounting an attack against the trillions of pollens that you're breathing in, whether it be in your sinus airways and you get hay fever, or whether it be a reaction in the bronchi of the lungs and you get asthma. This is because your immune system saw that harmless pollen, for example, as a threat. And now it's attacking it with all the weapons of the immune system. And those weapons are not just antibodies and, in some respects, cytotoxic T killer cells. It's mast cells releasing histamine, which creates an inflammatory response. Now, most people think that's bad. Well, it does have its place. An inflammation around the gut is part of your defense system protecting you, but that then should resolve and you should heal. But if you've got this constant attack process going on against that harmless pollen, well, you now are suffering allergic rhinitis or hay fever or asthma constantly. Or you might be acting on the skin and having dermatitis or eczema. So this is an example of allergies. So it is a malfunctioning in the immune system. The technical name is hypersensitivity reactions. There's 5 types of hypersensitivity reactions. Some of those cross over into autoimmune diseases. So, when I teach this, I used to say, allergies, hypersensitivity reactions, is like the second wing compared to the other wing being autoimmune diseases. There is a relationship there. Both are malfunctioning of your immune system. In some cases, it's attacking yourself in autoimmune diseases. In this case, it's attacking something from the outside still that's coming in. But if it was left alone, it would not cause a problem in and of itself. And of course, there are many types of allergic reactions. You know, I just used allergic rhinitis hay fever because it's a commonly understood one. You know, that dumping of massive amounts of histamine can kill you. That's what anaphylactic shock is all about. It's about your body absolutely mounting this massive attack against something that you've either taken as a drug or an allergic substance or whichever way you were exposed to it. And then all of a sudden, you've got this massive attack taking place from your body that shuts down the airway. You blow up like a balloon, you can't breathe, and you die from anaphylaxis. So, you know, these allergies can be quite serious.
Now, are we born with them, or do we get them as we go along? Well, where do we get them? Why do we get allergies?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? What's the cause? You know, the genes predispose you to susceptibilities that may run in your family. They were the be all and end. You know, the genes have to start being disturbed somewhere, don't they? Back up in the generation. Someone once upon a time didn't have it in their genes and got it. So the reality is that you can be predisposed by the genes. And then it's all about, again, back to the big topic, what's your general health like? You know, I personally have experienced this. I never had any family history of hay fever, allergic rhinitis, or asthma, and I got them all.
Okay.
I got them in Melbourne, Australia at the age of about 10. And there's no family history. And of course, I've never had them since I was 18 because that was taken care of by changes in my lifestyle and diet. So that gets back to the question, what triggered that? What was the cause in my case? The cause in my case was a diet that was not doing me any favours. You know, I used to be a high-level dairy product consumer as a child, and the proteins coming from the dairy created some cross-reactivity as well and encouraged me to develop these allergies. So that when I changed my lifestyle, my diet, did yoga, was healthier, less stress, got off dairy for my journey, I've never had it since.
Wow.
Say that again. I've never had it since. And I went to hospital the first time I had an asthma attack. Fairfield Hospital, Preston, Melbourne, Australia. And so I had to have the typical adrenaline shot to open up the airways so I wouldn't asphyxiate. So there's a lot of things that factor in, and it's all really, that's why I link the autoimmune on the one wing to the allergies on the other wing, because what is it that causes the body to cross-react, start attacking you in varying ways, and histamine and inflammatory responses? And it's interesting that most foreign antigens, that's a term for an invader, are proteins. And it's interesting, this is an area that is still unraveling. They're still working on unraveling this to this day, as to how do you get exposed to proteins that then trigger an immune response against them? How are you getting those? Well, some of those can come in an infectious organism. And we talked about that with autoimmune disease. Some can come in your diet.
Right.
The whole topic of leaky gut and not digesting proteins properly and then absorbing larger macromolecules you shouldn't be absorbing, triggering these immune responses. We will be covering, no doubt, in the digestive system when we get to leaky gut. So the solution is very interesting. You have to look at your diet, look at your sensitivities, look at your intolerances. This is what practitioners do. But I've found my greatest results is why I came out of retirement, and that's for the Redox signaling supplement that is new technology and now available. That comes in that blue bottle behind me. and in a gel that you can use from the outside in on the skin.
And why does that help?
Well, all cells run on redox signaling molecules, and the problem is from puberty, where we peak, unless you're sick, but if you're a healthy pubescent male or female, you peak at puberty. Then as the years pass, the numbers produced in the Krebs cycle in the mitochondria of the cells reduces at the rate average of 1% per year. And not only does the numbers decrease, the balance between reductants and oxidants is far greater over time. That leads to these malfunctions from that level, from the redoxime level. And so you've got this interactivity between diet, lifestyle, stress, and the redoxime problem of depletion and imbalance. So I find it fairly extraordinary that correcting the redoxime balance seems to dramatically alter these hypersensitivity reactions, even when the diet is not always the best that it should be, by the way, but I would still encourage.
Right. Isn't it extraordinary? And the word that just keeps on coming to me is literally balance. It's when we have any kind of issue, or it's how do we find that balance, whether it's within ourselves and in our lifestyle, isn't it?
Well, it is everything balance. It's fascinating with redox signaling molecules because there is no way until now that's ever been discovered to replenish the levels to what they once were at healthy puberty. The only thing that will help a reasonable amount. The fitter and healthier you are, the more the mitochondria are able to make the redox signaling molecules. And of course, back to the general health measures of adequate sleep, managed stress, that preserves your redox molecules more. Stress, illness, sickness deplete them more. But for the first time in human history, never existed before, ever until now, is the bioconjugation formula that contains redox signaling molecules that you can replenish those trillions of numbers and get the right balance. And the results speak for themselves, and they're nothing short of extraordinary.
Aren't we absolutely fortunate to be living in these times when technology and science is progressing to cover and this overall well-being, and to literally help our bodies heal themselves? That's the whole thing. What can we do to enhance our own functions? Because I don't even know what to call it, like the most ingenious instrument ever, the human body, right? Correct, Dr. Ray? What would you, it's like, it's just nothing, and no man has ever been able to create anything similar to what our bodies are like.
I remember when we used to teach the central nervous system, in the textbook that I used for anatomy and physiology was a statement that there's more neurons in the brain and the central nervous system spinal cord than there are stars in the galaxy. And that's not the cells entire the human body. That is just one type of cell, neurons. There's many more in the brain and the spinal cord. In fact, there's more of other cells than there are of neurons. Wow. So the human body is extraordinary.
And that's why we just love diving more into this extraordinary bodies of ours and understanding them more with the intention that once we understand how extraordinary we actually are, we also understand how we can take care of ourselves and live that happy life, because healthy cells, healthy you, happy you. And what can we say? Thank you once again, Dr. Ray. And we look forward to meeting further on and discussing more topics as we go along. I invite you all to follow us and comment, share with others, come back with questions. Are there other topics that you would like to explore? We've already got a nice long list, and we'll be around for a while with this series, but yet please interact and let us know, and may this help you. And all we want to say is bye and be well.
Bye-bye.
Bye.